Party, giving a tough battle to BJP and Congress. In the final tally, BJP could manage 31 seats, 5 seats short of a majority, and the Aam Aadmi Party posted an impressive win of 28 seats. The ruling Congress finished with only 8 seats and Akali Dal, JDU and Independent with 1 each. The two chief ministers of the BJP ruled states, Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh and Dr. Raman Singh in Chhattisgarh, and Congress ruled Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot have won. Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit, however, lost to Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal in New Delhi constituency. Congress President Sonia Gandhi said that the results are very disappointing and party needs to do deep introspection. Briefing reporters in New Delhi last evening, Ms. Gandhi said that price rise was an issue in this election and people were unhappy, otherwise they would not have given such a mandate. She also congratulated the winners. On the Congress Prime Ministerial candidate for next general elections, she said, people need not worry as it will be announced by the party at an opportune time. Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi said that the election results have given a message to the Congress and it will transform itself to stand up to the expectation of the people. Mr. Gandhi said that Aam Aadmi Party's victory will force all the mainstream parties to think of politics in a new way. Meanwhile, BJP President Rajnath Singh has dedicated the party's victory to the common people. Aam Aadmi Party convener Arvind Kejriwal has attributed his victory to the people of New Delhi constituency. He said his party will sit in opposition and play a constructive role instead of seeking support from any party to form the government. In Rajasthan, the BJP has won 162 seats in the 199 constituencies that went to polls. The Congress has won 21, the National People's Party, NPP, 4, and Bahujan Samaj Party, 3. Independents and others have won 9. BJP's chief ministerial candidate Vasundhara Raje said that the people of Rajasthan have voted against non-governance of the Congress. Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot said that we sought people's mandate on the issue of development, but we failed. In Madhya Pradesh, the BJP has won 165 seats in the 230-member House, crossing the mark of 153 for a two-third majority. The Congress has won 58 seats, Bahujan Samaj Party won 4 seats, and Independent won 3. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan thanked people for their support. State Congress Committee Chief Jyotiraditya Scindia has called for major reconstruction and introspection in the party. In Chhattisgarh, the BJP has won 49 seats in the 90-member assembly. The Congress has won 39, BSP 1 and others 1. Chief Minister Dr. Raman Singh said that the win is in support of the good work done by the BJP government. Counting of votes for the 40-member Mizoram Assembly election will take place from 8 a.m. today. Polling in the state was held on November the 25th. State Joint Chief Electoral Officer H. Laleng Mavia said that elaborate security arrangements have been made in the 14 counting centers in the 8 districts. A total of 142 candidates, including 6 women, are in the fray. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. You can also visit our Facebook page, All India Radio News, for more news and events. Thailand's embattled Premier, Ms. Yingluck Shinawatra, has offered to dissolve Parliament and hold fresh elections within 60 days, even as opposition MPs resigned en masse to join the anti-government protests ahead of today's D-Day rally to oust her. The Prime Minister said in a special televised program yesterday to defuse the over 2-week-long crisis, she is ready to resign and dissolve Parliament if that is what majority of the Thai people want. She, however, warned that the political crisis would prolong if the protesters reject her offer. Ms. Yingluck Shinawatra said that they should conduct a referendum so that people can decide what they should do. She came to power in 2011. However, former Deputy Prime Minister and the leader of the anti-government protesters Sukhdev Thaugsuban has called for a final blow today to force Inglaterra out of power. India has called for peaceful settlement of the crisis in Syria through the dialogue process. It has welcomed the Iran nuclear deal and reiterated its resolve to work together with the Gulf and Arab nations towards regional security and stability. Mr. Khurshid said India has committed $1 million for destruction of Syria's chemical weapons arsenal, which reflects its commitments to the cause. Salman Khurshid put across India's viewpoints in Bahrain capital Manama at the first ever address by India's External Affairs Minister at the Regional Security Summit, the Manama Dialogue, yesterday. India and Bahrain have said that they are committed to further expand bilateral ties and look forward to work together in new areas of trade, investment and cooperation. The External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid met the top leaders of Bahrain in Manama yesterday and discussed areas of bilateral and regional issues. He held delegation-level talks with his Bahraini counterpart and later called on the Bahraini Prime Minister and the Bahrain King. The Bahrain Foreign Minister Sheikh Khalid said that NRIs have been the most trusted and preferred community and contributed a lot to build Bahrain. The number of Indian expatriates in Bahrain has gone up from 90,000 in the year 2000 to 350,000 by the end of 2012. The bilateral trade stands at around $2 billion. A riot broke out among South Asian workers in Singapore late yesterday, damaging police cars and other vehicles in the city's state's Little India district. Eyewitnesses and local media said the rare outbreak of public disorder in strictly controlled Singapore took place in an area normally packed with thousands of workers, mostly from the Indian subcontinent, on their day off. People on the scene told a news agency that the cause of the incident was not immediately clear and the situation was brought under control within 2 hours. Police officers are at scene and are dealing with the situation. India suffered a 134-run defeat in the second one-day against South Africa, who clinched the 3-match ODI series by taking a 2-0 lead at Durban yesterday. The hosts rode on the two openers, Quinton de Kock 106 and Hashim Amla 100, to pile up 280 for 6 in the allotted 49 overs before bundling out the visitors for 146 in 35.1 overs on a gloomy day at the Kingsmead. And now to end this bulletin, here are the headlines again. BJP records landslide victory in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh assembly elections, retains Chhattisgarh with a slender margin. Delhi votes for a hung assembly. Congress President Sonia Gandhi terms the results as very disappointing and calls for deep introspection within the party. BJP President Rajnath Singh dedicates the party's victory to the common people. The Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra offers to dissolve Parliament and hold fresh elections within 60 days. India calls for a peaceful settlement of the crisis in Syria through the dialogue process. And that is the end of this news bulletin.
This is the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. We now have for you today's commentary. Nepal votes for peace and stability. The script is by Ratan Salvi and Vedda Surya Yadav.
The results of the November 19th Constitution Assembly poll in Nepal are most surprising. The Nepali Congress, the country's oldest political party, has won around 34% of the seats in the new Constituent Assembly. Similarly, the Communist Party of Nepal, CPM, UML, came in second with around 30% of the seats. Meanwhile, the Maoists, the country's dominant communist party, secured only around 14% of the seats, which is a small fraction of its previous share of 37% in the 2008 Constituent Assembly election. The final tally of the Nepali Congress and the CPM-UML will go up slightly with the allotment of their share in the 26 nominated seats to be decided by the new government after its formation. Their combined strength will, however, be still short by a narrow margin to get two-thirds majority in the 601-member House required for drafting and adoption of the new constitution. Most Madheshi parties also suffered a big defeat in the elections, reducing their vote percentage and presence in the new house as compared to the earlier one. One thing is crystal clear from the outcome of the Second Constituent Assembly results, which is required to frame a new constitution for the country in place of the interim constitution and later act as parliament, that the people in Nepal want peace and development. They want the political leadership to sink their differences, which led to the lapse of the earlier Constituent Assembly without giving the country a new constitution, despite 2 extensions of its term and deliver results. They have rejected the main plank of the Maoists and the Madheshi parties outlined in their manifestos to carve out the provinces based on ethnicity. The 2 major irritants which bogged down the previous assembly and remained unfinished are the form of governance the country should adopt on the basis and number of provinces to be created and demarcation of their boundaries to constitute the republic which Nepal chose to become after overthrowing the monarchy. These are not simple issues and need political sagacity on the part of the leadership and rising above petty political games, fulfilling the democratic will of the people. But the worrisome point is that chinks have already started appearing, and the UCPN Maoist and Madheshi Janadhikar Forum Nepal and some other Tarai-based parties have questioned the propriety of the recently concluded elections and have demanded investigations into the alleged irregularities in the poll process. They have also threatened not to participate in the deliberations of the new Constituent Assembly until their demands are met and the irregularities investigated by a commission. The Nepali Congress and the CPN-UML, which have already started the process of government formation, however, want all political parties, as also the Mohan Baidya faction of Maoists, which did not participate in the elections, to come on board and generate consensus for drafting and adoption of the statute book and the form of governance and the republic. The Nepali Congress President Sushil Koirala, who is forerunner for Prime Ministership, being leader of the largest party, has favored consensus of all parties on constitution drafting. Under Article 69(1) of the Interim Constitution of Nepal, the Constituent Assembly will be summoned by the Prime Minister within 21 days of the Election Commission announcing the results of the 335 proportional representation seats in the 601-member Assembly. It is hoped that the new government will be in place in Kathmandu soon, unlike the previous time when it took 4 months due to political wrangling to form the government after the announcement of election results by the Election Commission.